Sarsour. Assalamu alaikum. Come on, Chicago, I'm from Brooklyn. Assalamu alaikum. That's better. Just one correction, Dr. Rashid. Millennials start in 1980. I'm a millennial. Who's born in 1980 and after we're millennials too?
So make it 81.
80, I have 80. I got
Because
80.
I'm from X generation. And I don't like to be an X.
Okay. I am so deeply honored and humbled to be here with all of you today. This is my first in-person Muslim convention, and I just love being able to say hello to people and hug people and be together. And I hope that we get to do this again in a few weeks at Mass Ikna. Who's coming to Mass Ikna? All right, that's good. You all know me very well. I am a proud daughter of Palestine, Bint al-Bire. How many Bedawi are in here? I mean, we all have village pride, people. We're allowed, we understand. But I like to make sure I know where my Bedawi are at everywhere I go. I am so proud to be here to support American Muslims for Palestine and this beautiful Palestine Convention, the largest convention for Palestinians in the country. And if you're asking me why we've gotten to where we've gotten to today, I will absolutely attribute that to much of the work that AMP and the leaders of AMP have done in the last few years. Sisters and brothers, we are in unprecedented times. We have a lot of pessimists in our community. People who tell you nothing changed, nothing happened, this is all talk, don't waste your time. We have a lot of that in the Muslim community. And I don't talk, I don't organize with pessimists in the Muslim community. Sisters and brothers, we have to learn to celebrate our accomplishments. And we have had many accomplishments. Oftentimes, we are giving our accomplishments away to other people and not attributing to where we got today from our Palestinian grandfathers who came to America and instilled in us the love of Palestine. The reason why your children know Palestine is because the work that you have done in your homes to teach your children about Palestine. Saving your money and sending your children to Palestine in the summertime to spend time with their grandparents, with their cousins, to learn Arabic. It is also because of you and the work that you have done. Sisters and brothers, you don't have to be an activist or an organizer or a leader of a Palestinian organization to attribute the success that we have had as a community also to the work that you have done. Sisters and brothers, we are starting to hear Israel described as an apartheid state more than we have ever heard that before. When we talk about AOC and Cori Bush and Rashid and Ilhan, these people are not magic. They don't just grow out of the ground and all of a sudden, surprise, we have members of Congress who are good on Palestine. They are good on Palestine because of the work that we have done in our communities, because the power that we have built, because of the numbers of registered voters. We have built political influence in cities across America, and no longer will you run for Congress and not hold a position on the most important global social justice issue of our time, and that is Palestine. We are hearing of congregations across the world who are divesting from from Israel. Academic institutions who are also engaging in divestment. We are watching media outlets, including outlets like CNN, who are forced into centering Palestinian voices. You know why? Because as someone said before, I don't need CNN. I have a social media platform. I will say what I want, when I want, anytime that I want. And when they see people with platforms and other people are following our platforms like they are Muhammad al-Kurd and Mun al-Kurd, they are forced to put Muhammad on national television to tell the Palestinian story. We are watching celebrities across the world who are standing with the Palestinian people, including women who are in pageants, who are Miss Greece and Miss Morocco and I don't know who are saying that they will not go to the Miss Universe pageant because it's being held in the state of Israel. Sisters and brothers, we've had a lot of evolution on Palestine. And I also attribute that to the young people. The young people on college campuses across America, and in particular to Students for Justice in Palestine. I salute you and the courage in the face of opposition every day on your college campuses practices that you still are steadfast, standing up strong for your beloved Palestinian people. Sisters and brothers, this work is hard. Fighting for Palestine is not easy, and it comes with consequences. Trust me, if it was easy, everybody would be fighting for Palestine, and Palestine might even be free by now. But this work is difficult, and it also comes with consequences. And many people in our communities will tell you consequences. People have been fired from jobs. People have been refused tenureships as professors. Some people haven't gotten scholarships because of their stance on Palestine. People have lost financial opportunities because of their stance on Palestine. And I tell every single one of those people, and I tell you all, it is worth it. Nothing that you will endure, no intimidation that you will endure, no financial loss that you will endure, will be anything compared to Palestinians living under military occupation or living under siege in Gaza. Sisters and brothers, I always wonder when we talk about Palestine in the Muslim community, right? Or even in the Palestinian community. We expect our country to be good on this issue, but we live in America. Sisters and brothers, you live in a country where people are fighting for health care. You live in a country where people are still fighting for voting rights. You live in a country who stood with South Africa in the time of apartheid. You literally live in a country that is always, almost always, on the wrong side of history, whether you look in South America or in Central America. Why do we think that this country is going to be magically good on an issue like Palestine? Anytime this country has ever done anything right, it is because the people rise up. It's because the people organize. It's because the people put pressure on this U.S. government to do the right thing. Politics in America is never about morality. It's never about the right thing. In this country, we practice the politics of consequences. If I am a member of Congress and I'm going to do a vote on the House floor, the question I ask myself is, what consequences will I get if I make this vote? You, my Palestinian community, my Muslim community, have to become the consequences for these members of Congress. Those members of Congress, when they vote against the Palestinian people, have to think to themselves, damn, next time I may not be reelected. I may not raise enough money. I may not have a job in Congress. This is how politics works in America. Politics is dirty in this country. Politics is corrupt in this country. So for us to believe that anybody who goes to Congress is really going to go and work in some moral space, one that is centered on human rights, is ridiculous. Because this country has never operated a government by centering human rights. So what I ask all of you to do, sisters and brothers, is to celebrate where we are today, to celebrate our wins today, to think about the Cori Bushes of the world in politics and pray for 10 more Cori Bushes and 20 more Rashidas, and to continue to support people politically. Oftentimes in the Muslim community, you'll go to a fundraiser and they'll raise $3 million for Yemen or $3 million for Syria, and I want you to do that. I believe in humanitarian work. I support humanitarian organizations. But we have enough money in our Palestinian American communities that we need to take those same millions of dollars and we need to put it into politics in America, because in this country, it's about money and it's about votes. They know no other language. So this do the right thing and justice for Palestine, that works in the streets, it doesn't work in the suites, and it does not work in Congress. Sometimes we're going to be disappointed. And here's what the Palestinian American and Muslim American community does sometimes. Sometimes a member of Congress that you may have liked a little bit does something that you don't agree with. And so what do? Nihrad. Wallah, law absar shu. I'm not going to support them again. I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to do that again. This is not what the Palestinian people in Palestine teach us. You don't give up. You stay consistent. You educate. You call these members of Congress in. You don't walk away. Because what happens when you walk away and those people still get reelected, you know what they think to themselves? I guess I don't need these people. It looks like I can win without them. So what I'm asking you all today, that we can be principled and we can wholeheartedly stand with our Palestinian sisters and brothers in Palestine. And we will never give up our own principles. But I ask you also to be strategic politically. And this is why it is important, the work that AMP does and their Action Fund does, to engage members of Congress politically to stand with the Palestinian people. Sisters and brothers, I have been the target of right-wing Zionists for a long time, and especially in these last 5 years when they saw me leading the Women's March on Washington. They couldn't believe that a Palestinian woman in a hijab could stand on the highest stages in this land and deem myself to be unapologetically Palestinian American. Sisters and brothers, I have had Israeli spy firms hired by Sheldon Adelson to investigate me and my family. I have had opportunities taken from me. In fact, many of you know I wrote a book last year, and they tried to take my book from me. One of the things I told my editors and my publishers that I'm going to write this book, but before I sign any contracts, I'm going to talk about my Palestinian heritage, and I'm going to talk about Nakba, and I'm going to talk about the history of my people. And the agreement that we have is that will not be edited out of my book. And I also told them that in every library in America, in every bookstore in America, there will be a Palestinian woman in a hijab on the front page of a book. And so I want you, sisters and brothers, to believe that your story is important, to tell your story, to not be in despair when you lose an opportunity or something that you believe that you deserve. Sisters and brothers, it is worth it. You know why? Because you know what is bigger than right-wing Zionists? God is bigger. So every time they've taken something from me, sisters and brothers, Allah blessed me 20 times more. Because we are a people of faith. We have something much bigger. Sisters and brothers, I will end by telling you all, and I believe this from the deepest of my heart, that we are our great-great-great-grandmother's wildest dreams manifested. Our ancestors dreamed that one day we would go to the Ghurba, and we will build political power, and we will educate ourselves, and we will build wealth, and we will build generations of Palestinian children who still call for Palestine. And one day, because of our collective efforts, we will push this nation to be on the right side of history and to alleviate harm and suffering against our people. And in this lifetime, because of you, and because of me, and because of the American Muslims for Palestine, and because of all those who made this convention possible, including Sarsour, who's the chairman and should get the credit for all the work that he does. Quiet storm in the background. That one day we will be together with our children and our grandchildren in a free Palestine.